I think the biggest advice I can give anybody for work-life balance is the power of no. Being able to tell people no. I don't want that extra overtime. I don't want that extra board that you want me to join. I don't want to help you move that weekend. I got something else. Because I know people that'll be like, hey, get mad at you because you can't help them move because you had daddy-daughter day planned and you're not going to tell your daughter, no, we're not going wherever so I can help this person move.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg, joined my co-hosts, Razi and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's on your mind.
Well, I just got a question for Buff.
Okay.
How was Miami, man?
Man, Miami was much needed. I appreciate you asking. Miami was needed. Y'all know I love going down there. And listen, I'm fully aware. I've seen posts in the past from women talking about, I'm going to teach my daughter how to make her own money so your son can't impress her with Vegas and Miami trips. I get it. Miami has become a basic trip for most people. That's fine. Not for me. It's peace of mind from the moment I ride from that airport to the beach. I get like a euphoria, dog. And January was tough as hell for me. Like after that riot and the way we were working, there were some days I was like, I felt overworked and stressed. And this trip is what got me through. Like, I was like, I just got to make it to March. Because at the time, we thought we were going to be working like that the entire time. So I was like, no off days. I know I have March. So this trip lived up to the expectations for me. I ate good, had some, I drank my bottle that I showed y'all. So it was a really great time, man. And I didn't, do any of the whole clubbing thing. Well, you can't anyway, but it was good for me without even doing any of that, man. So it was a great time.
Nice.
That's what's up, bro.
You look less stressed. Calm.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
What else? Was there something else you was going to talk about? I'm sorry, I jumped in.
No. Go ahead and finish up, bro. I can wait.
Okay. We'll save the Coming to America discussion. Let it have its own little thing. So I do want to talk about Coming to America, but before I
haven't watched it yet.
I want to talk about.
Ferg, he gave you homework. He put it in the text.
I did Coming to America. I know he's about to say WandaVision though.
No, not WandaVision.
No, I did Coming to America.
It was good. I'm not going to talk about the series finale for that one. But actually, I want to talk about Joe Biden and the administration and everybody talking about how, they're not moving fast enough. But the COVID relief bill passed the Senate. It's going back to the House for approvals and reconciliation. And then we should be getting a COVID relief package. $1.9 trillion should be coming through. So they kind of screwed us a little bit, limiting who can get the STEMI checks this time.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. So the people who really, really need it, they're going to get it. I get it. Like, I didn't need it.
Who gets these STEMIs?
It's $80,000 a year individual, $160,000 for couples. So if you make more than that, it's no haps.
So you get nothing. It's not even like a prorated amount. You just get.
Yeah, I think it's nothing.
That's
because AOC came on and she was complaining like, we're sending. No, it was Representative Omar. She was saying that we're sending less checks to people than what's his name 45 did. So Trump sent more people checks, and so they were kind of feeling some type of way about that. But it is what it is. The STEMIs are coming. But along those lines, everybody's talking about how they're not moving fast enough.
Hold on. What is this based off of 2020 tax returns or 2019? Because I'm trying to hold off.
2019 has been paid. So, that's what I'm hoping too is that, I haven't filed my 2020 taxes yet. So it's off of 2019 unless you've already filed. So the IRS knows.
So I haven't filed yet.
Based on that.
Holding.
Yeah.
Not
so
saying that I
wouldn't
qualify if I filed. Because, $160,000 for a couple is great money. I'm just saying.
Yes. So, but along those lines, I wanted to talk about.
So you're saying, didn't they raise the limit then? Because it wasn't 160,000 for couples originally.
I think it was maybe 150, but you didn't get completely cut off if you made more than 150. Like as long as you made less than 200,000, you got something. This time you get nothing.
You know what I'm thinking? Never mind. That's just personal stuff. Filing.
Yeah. So anyway, but that, and I'm really, really excited about the new bill that they just introduced, HB1. So I don't know if you guys know about HB1. HB1 is basically the new Voting Rights Act. And so it is huge. It's probably the biggest piece of legislation since the Voting Rights Act in the 60s. And I would even probably put it above Obamacare, the ACA. It is huge, huge, huge. It takes care of. It should be overturning Citizens United, getting a lot of money out of politics, as well as thinking through all of the disenfranchisement that's happening with Republican states, your Texas in general, as well as Georgia and some of the other states that are really, really going hard with disenfranchising individual voters. And so it's going to open up the floodgates. It talks through Florida and that whole giving felons the right to vote again. So the new age poll tax that they're trying with that. So it addresses so much when it comes to voting rights. And I think there's a Republican that's on record that says if HB1 passes, Republicans won't win another race.
And they know that too, which is why what happened in Georgia, I've never been more pissed off at people that say your vote doesn't count, because as Stacey Abrams said, Republicans now are trying to attack the whole mail-in ballot thing in Georgia. But she was like, up until this year, when both Warnock and Ossoff won, Republican voters are the ones that utilize mail-in voting. But now that they lost, they want to do something about it. They know voting matters. And that's why Texas and Georgia and all these other states, Florida, are doing so much that they possibly can to try to restrict people that look like the three of us from voting. So It's just really frustrating. I know you can't change some people's mind, but it's frustrating when you see people say that ignorant shit. Just say you don't know what's going on, and that's why you're not voting. That's all you got to say, man.
Yeah. Or you're right. They don't know what's going on, or they don't know the importance of what's going on.
It's easy too. It's easy to be lazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But think about this HB1. The thing about it is, this is what I call a nut check. We're going to truly see if the Dems, including Biden, will let their nuts hang. Because if it doesn't happen by 2022, this should never happen. Because they peep game, and now the Republicans will come even harder. It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me. Well, I can't be fooled again.
We can't fool again.
You know what I mean?
Shout out W. Bush.
W. But that's how it is. It's like they are panicking. It's like, if these Dems get passed, this right here. But they're going, and the Dems have if they were ever going to get it done, now is the time. Because what do they need to pick up in 2022? One Senate seat?
Yep. Yeah.
And 6 House? That's what we're trying to get?
If they get 6 House, they'll have a supermajority, won't they?
No, 6. I was looking at it yesterday.
I think it's 6 seats. If they get 6 more seats, won't they have a supermajority? Because they have
the Dems. I think they need more than that, because they're
the Republicans are needing. This is what I'm saying. The Republicans pick this up.
Yeah,
because they're just they don't have that. They don't need much to get back in their favor.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like you can't play around. And doesn't HB1 have something to do with the minimum wage as well, Razi? Is that in there?
No, it was, they tried to do the minimum wage inside of the stimulus package, and it got shot down because I think there was 6 senators that voted, it was senators that voted, Democratic senators voted no for the amendment to put it in there.
They just need to
Which
change this
I hate to say it, but I kind of agree. I think that $15 needs to be
gradually.
its own standalone package.
Yeah. Cool. Good stuff, man.
So that's all I got, man.
So my question is short today, so we can spend a little time on this. But we always talking about shows to watch, and I've been watching the Allen versus Farrell documentary on HBO Max. And you know, I knew a little bit about Woody Allen and what he had done, not to the extent that I'm learning now, but I don't even know where to start. Mia Farrow has to be slow. Like, I don't know how you have all this evidence against this man, finding pictures of your daughter that you adopted, provocative pictures in his apartment. The therapist coming to you saying things, the babysitter saying that she saw his face in your daughter's lap. Like, all of this evidence, and your response to it is to go tell a therapist. Like, you didn't think to call the police. Like, murder wasn't on the table. Like, a ass whooping, none of that was on the table. So it's just amazing how this dude was literally the R. Kelly of Hollywood. And by that, I mean, he was doing this and through his art, he was rubbing it in our faces. Like R. Kelly, he's on the cover of Aaliyah's album cover. She's like 16. Age ain't nothing but a number, and he in the background, like, looking at her. Like, that's just throwing it in our face. Seems like you're ready. The whole underage thing. Woody Allen, he had like a string of movies where he's the main character, and this underage girl wants him, this 17-year-old, like, I think the movie was called Manhattan. Other movies where a young 19, it's always some very, very young woman that's attracted to him and that he can't help himself from being with. So he's just showing it in our face, and it played
Isn't
out.
he a sex symbol?
Hell no. He's like a younger Bernie Sanders.
Bernie, yeah.
So it's just incredible, man. So
not as cool.
I am not as cool at all. But I mean, you know, good movie maker. But check it out if you haven't, man. Allen versus Farrell on HBO Max. I just thought it was incredible to watch the similarities between him and R. Kelly.
Well, you hear that all the time. You hear about Woody Allen, you hear about like Elvis Presley and stuff like that. And there's all these white celebrities who weren't persecuted the way art. And this is a catch-22. And I don't really want to go down this rabbit hole like that and excuse R. Kelly where they're like, well,
do it though. They didn't
get crucified like R. Kelly did.
Right.
You know, Elvis and
President Kennedy.
Yeah.
He was 16-year-olds in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I guess it's excusable. But R. Kelly was, you know, demonized, and then they kind of spin off and go Bill Cosby and stuff like that. All that stuff's interconnected. But it's not the first time that a famous Hollywood star has had inappropriate and underage relationships. And it's taboo. They get a smack on the wrist, and it goes on. They move on because, like, Elvis married with Priscilla. Is it Priscilla Presley? Is that her name? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was underage. I want to say she was like 15, 16.
Yeah, 15. Yep.
But then then they became like the world's favorite couple. You know,
I mean, it was funny. I was driving yesterday and listening to The Groove on Sirius XM Radio. Shout out to them. But 17 came on. And I don't know if y'all ever heard the song by Rick James. It's like, she was just 17 and she was sexy. Like,
well, we know Rick James is a super freak. I mean, he didn't hide it at all. But it was like one of those things that it was kind of it was. But was it a cultural?
People just didn't think that it was as big of a deal as it was back then. And you know, that's that whole idea of cancel culture and folks not understanding what cancel culture is. But I saw a meme that said, like, the church was the biggest cancel culture proponent up until today. It was very easy for them to be like, oh, you can't watch Harry Potter. That's witchcraft. You can't do this. That's that. And they would cancel something super fast if they felt like it was secular, the music and everything else. But then, when folks are starting to cancel stuff that they kind of like, now it's like, oh, it's a problem. It's cancel culture at this point. All it is capitalism. That's what it is. It's like, hey, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with what you're doing. I don't have to give you my money.
Yeah, I hate people that whine about cancel culture. I had a coworker that asked me about that because, the whole Dr. Seuss thing has come out. And I'm like...
and they don't even understand that. Like, they're talking about the Cat in the Hat. And I'm like, they're not canceling Cat in the Hat. They're canceling, like, what was it? One time on Manhattan Drive or something crazy. Yeah. Like, they're canceling 6 books that you probably have never heard of ever because nobody really looks at them anymore. And the company was the ones that was like, yeah, this is kind of racist. We're not going to produce this anymore.
Both sides do it, man. Like they were ready to cancel NFL players for kneeling. The Trump administration was ready to cancel Jamel Hill for speaking out against him. So nobody owns the whole I'm tired of cancel culture because both sides do it. I just wish people would, on their individual selves, just decide, like, I choose not to listen to R. Kelly anymore. But I'm not on a crusade to make everybody else do it. If that's what you choose to do, fine. Because, like it or not, most of our entertainers are messed up and have done something. James Brown beat the hell out of his wife. I mean, you mentioned Elvis. So you really can find a reason to cancel almost any entertainer. So just make the individual decision on your own.
So let me see, I just had it. The 6 books that Dr. Seuss were getting canceled were, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, If I Ran the Zoo, Mac Elligott's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, The Cat's Quizzer. I was a Dr. Seuss fanatic. I ain't never heard of none of these. I think I might have read I Ran the Zoo. That might be the only one. So, cancel those books, move on. But we don't want to belabor that point. I actually was going to talk about Dr. Seuss, so I'm glad you brought that up. This week's been kind of crazy for me. I'm just glad to enter a new week. Been stressful, but I feel better. We just entered March. It's a good week, good start. I'll say my comments to last. Let's go ahead and jump into the show, fellas. We got Sophie on there.
We don't, but before we jump into that, I don't know if y'all heard about the news about Diddy almost getting arrested. Did y'all hear about that?
No.
Yeah, he ran a red light, and when they asked him why, he was like, "Well, I thought I told you that I won't stop."
You know what? He got me on that one because I'm like, you know what? He got me.
I saw it coming. I saw it, and I'm like, great transition. If he can just bring it in. Bring it home. So, I'll give it 3 1/4 stars.
Yeah, the execution was pretty good.
Yeah. That was pretty good, bro. Did Sophie help you with that one?
She did. She's been quizzing me, All
right, we'll jump into it. Fellas, let's take a trip down memory lane real quick. When you were in high school, I know we all thought we were grown and stuff like that, but at any point, did your parents not know how good or bad you were doing in school? Like, how bad could things have gotten without your mom was noticing or your dad noticing that it had hit the fan?
I mean, in high school, I'm sure had I been doing bad, I could have, I don't know how long I could have, but I could have hidden it from her for a while.
Like, what's a while? Give me.
Maybe a quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Razi, I know your mama. You couldn't skip school. Razi, what'd you do? How was school today? Huh?
Yeah. I just couldn't lie. So it really wouldn't have been long, but like Byron said, it was no more than a quarter because I don't know if you guys remember, but my parents set our allowance based on our grades. So
that's right.
every time grades came out, they knew when they were coming out, and that's how they knew. Because my dad was like, you can not make straight A's because that's less expensive for me. Cool, get that B. that's less money I got to spend. So but they would know based on that whether you were passing or not, and it was times that somebody Pooh might be doing not as well in a subject or something like that, and so that's how they knew that, okay, we got to work on this. And my dad was really serious about that.
I don't want to take us all the way down. So you gave me time, a quarter.
Okay.
So what about your kids? How long could they go?
Ooh,
right now, a week.
Yeah, the way it's set up now, like I literally get every grade she makes sent to my phone. So
isn't that kind of the new thing now with college? I mean, high school, even just public schools, period?
Yeah.
So is there any way possible that your kid could go to school for 4 years,
and only pass three
classes and have a 0.13 GPA, get to their senior year in high school, and then you find out that they're going to have to start back over as a freshman?
Good Lord. Nah.
So I've seen this conversation, and there was blame. Some people blame both parts. Some people blame the parents. Some people blame the school. This is a school in Baltimore where this young lady, a mother for her oldest son, got to his senior year, or went to high school for 4 years. And when she thought he was going to graduate in January, she found out that he had a 0.13 GPA, only passed 3 classes, missed or was tardy for 272 days in the first 3 years of his high school career. And she was shocked that he's not going to graduate. How does that happen? What are your thoughts on that?
That woman busy. But it's one of those things that now. Another part of that though is he's like in the top half of his class.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up. He is out of 120 students. He is ranked number 62. So that means that there are 61 other kids who have worse GPAs than him in his graduating class, right?
Yeah, in the class.
Well, in his class. Then they ain't graduating.
Yeah.
So at what point, and I thought about this because I know you talked about, charter schools and stuff like that, and schools failing because schools are failing kids. So go. I don't even know my question. Like, how does that happen? What's the solution?
Yeah, I have so many questions that go along with this. Like, if he was that truant, why was a truant officer not engaged? Why was nobody going to her house? Why was she not more alerted to what was happening if he was that truant? If his grades were that bad, do they have emails or phone calls or whatever where they had that parent-teacher conferences that they requested, something like that? Like, there should be no way that she didn't know this was coming and the school hadn't documented that they had tried to contact her. So judging by how half of that school is failing at this point and that have lower GPAs than him, I do put a lot of that onus on the school because I feel like they didn't contact her and they weren't reaching out to her and they weren't actually worried about the truant kids. They were just like, well, if they want to come, then we'll teach them when they get here. But other than that, we really don't care. And that is a failure of that school for those kids.
But what do you say to a mother that allows a kid to have a 0.13? Like, do you think that call is going to change anything?
At least at that point, the school, it will be off the school to say, hey, we did what we could, and we notified her. No, I don't think it would have changed much but you never know. I mean, she's a mom that's raising 4 kids. He's the oldest. She may have just been like, hey, he left for school every day. He came home for school every day. He advanced, so I'm assuming he's doing okay. It's one of those things that I can see my parents if they didn't tie my grades to our allowance, being like, you're good. I'm not worried about you. Because I leave for school, I'm advancing with my folks, and they weren't as worried about me going to college as they were just making sure that I was good. So I could see how she may have not been as engaged trying to raise all the other kids. I think she's a single mom when I read the article. So it's not excusable for her, but understandable. It's probably a better way to say it.
0.13.
0.13 or a 2.0 or a 3.5. The thing about it is, if she wasn't really checking for his grades like that, and the school wasn't contacting her saying that something's wrong, she just assumed that it was good.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about this story, but I assume that most parents whose kids are that truant and failing like that, they usually don't care, and they have very little investment on whether or not their child succeeds, and a lot of times they're probably out there making money other ways and providing for the family like that. So you mentioned how he was in the top half, so that school is probably used to dealing with those type of parents and have, position themselves to where they probably rarely do reach out to parents because they're so used to it. It's so normal at that school. Most of the parents don't care. So they have fell into a why even bother. But I still blame the school, because if that's the attitude that you're taking, then you no longer need to be in the business of educating kids. If that environment and those students have made you feel that way, from the teachers all the way up to the principal, then it's time to shut that school down. But we cannot allow the mom to go blameless. Like, I get, okay, he's advancing, but at some point you need to ask for grades. You are a mother of 4 kids. So at some point, some type of grade, some type of educational currency need to be coming into your house for you to see and lay eyes on, so that you're not surprised come graduation time. And for her to be surprised, that tells me that she has some amount of investment in whether or not he succeeds. And therefore, you can't wait until it's time to graduate to all of a sudden be shocked. Going a whole school, y'all even give her a whole year, but to go 4 years without ever seeing any type of grades, anything like that, or asking questions, we got to put some of the blame on her as well.
Oh, I'm with you, Buff. Like, yeah, the school, I think the school got to a breaking point. When he's in the top half of his class, is it just the school? Is it the environment? Mm-hmm. Is that the norm? It's like, what do you do? Why send out those emails? Why send out those texts? Mm-hmm. I can send it out, but why aren't you being proactive? Not passing the buck. That means I'm assuming you don't care. And because I've mentored before, there is a difference in, and I want to make sure I use this right, passing and promoting. They can move people along. They'll just move you along because, for one, the teacher doesn't want you in their class. I have a whole new group of freshmen coming in who need this space. I only have so many kids in the class, and we're just going to, you have a point, that means you turn in no homework, because I don't understand how you get a 0.3, 0.13. 0.3, that's probably the top 25%. I'm sorry. A 0.13. So it's like, why even bother? And they're just going to promote, because we assume that everybody has the goal to graduate. You know, think about how many people just get their GEDs. They got 4 years of high school. They don't graduate. They go get their GED, and that's fine for some people. And I'm just going out on a limb. I'm assuming that is the norm. You're going to have a lot of dropouts, and then you have a lot of people that they're going to get their GED. They're going to go through it. And it's for promoting, because you can't keep holding them back. If they held the other 60 people back, these 60 people will still be in 9th grade.
Yep.
And then you got another 60, the younger the class, the more people. So you probably got another 150, 200, freshmen coming in every year. And we're just holding these same 60 people back. They just got to move them out the way. And then teachers don't want to, why keep Razi in his classroom for 3 years if he hasn't turned in one lick of homework? He doesn't show up. He doesn't He doesn't participate. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and just assume he's a bad student. Like that's not even going on a limb. Like he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to do right. And so I got to deal with him for 4 years. Move his ass on. That's what I'm thinking that the teachers are thinking. That's what the school has to do. They have to keep moving people on. And the mother just thought being promoted was good enough. She knew. She's like, he has 2.5 credits. That's it. 2.5 credits. And she was cool with it. It's like when I worked in for Enterprise, people are cool as long as you're hooking them up. Then when you got the hookup for 3 years and you never decided right. When we call you on your BS, well, I always got this. Well, that was the hookup. Like at some point you can't if your luck or your hookup runs out, you can't just be mad at the world. Like, hey, you have to do some work. You have to turn in tests. You have to turn in homework. You have to pass. You have to study. You got to do something. I'm not going to go out on a limb and graduate you, give you a diploma. I hope you get your GED because obviously you didn't care enough. And maybe he didn't. I don't know if he didn't care enough. His mom didn't care enough. Hopefully the next 3 kids, this is a learning lesson and she knows that they can't just all graduate high school this way. Because I begin to wonder, I don't think this just starts in high school. Like, I think we all kind of rebelled in high school a little bit, but it wasn't to the point where we can go from making a 2.5, a 3.0, 3.5 in elementary and middle school to all of a sudden having a 0.13. Did I say that right? A 0.13.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey,
and it's funny. Alabama actually is taking that stance coming off of the whole No Child Left Behind. Alabama just passed a law, I think last year, that if you're not reading to your grade level, you will be left behind. You will be held back. So, because a lot of teachers and a lot of schools, that's what they were thinking is, I got to advance most of these people because I got a big class coming up behind them. There's no way for me to keep them. So I'm going to advance them even if they aren't. And so you had kids in 8th, 9th grade reading at 3rd, 4th grade levels.
Yeah. And when I worked in the schools, when I was working in the mentoring, like that, it was breaking my heart to hear because we were teaching these at-risk kids. And this is what the teachers are telling me, or the counselors. I'm like, they're going to pass them. The teachers actually almost make a deal with, like, Razi, if you just, there was literally this 8-year-old, the teacher and the mother made a pact with this kid. As long as he didn't disturb the class, he would come in every day and turn his desk to the wall. And if he didn't get in trouble the whole school year, he had to turn in work. She was going to give him a PlayStation. Like that was he was being rewarded for just not disturbing the class because he has to go to school. He has to be in class. So the teacher has to deal with him. And when he disrupts the whole class, he takes learning from everybody else. So they're rewarding this kid. Like we're going to promote him and the teacher's going to promote him. That's her part of it. And then the mother's like, hey, I'm going to get you a PlayStation if you just go in here and just not act. No, I didn't say learn. He would come in and go to sleep.
Sad.
Also, we're assuming that she was really surprised. But if he missed that many days, what'd you say, 272?
Missed and tardy.
I question how hard he was even hiding this from her. At some point, like I skipped school a couple of times growing up, but that was like here and there. That's easier to hide. When you miss that many days, when you're tardy that many days, at some point, you ain't really giving a shit. And I just question if he even at a certain point continued to hide it from her. So
well, no, because I think she thought, I'm assuming it's worked thus far. Why change it? If they're going to promote you, they promoted you in 9th grade, they promoted you in 10th grade, they promoted you in 11th grade. You think you're just going to walk across like, how do you get in? Well, of course, he's not applying for college, but it's like, okay, so you're going to graduate. What do you mean he's not going to graduate? Yeah. Well, he has 2.5 credits. He has a 0.13. But he's a senior. Nah, he's just been here for 4 years. We promoted him to the next class, but you got to think, to be a senior, you have to have, hell, I'll put myself on blast. When I was in college, I was at FAM a long time. But I didn't become a senior or a junior until I had the credits to show. Like you can fool yourself and say you're a senior because you've been there for 4 years, but that doesn't make you a senior. It means that you've been here for 4 years and you can move on to the next class. But
or not even move on to the next class. You can just sign up and take a different class, not necessarily the next level. Like you're not going to
move
Cal.
on means are you progressing to
right? Yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna take pre-cal. Nope, now I'm gonna take finite math, and I'm gonna take this, and so you just move between the maths, but never actually pass any of them
because you got to be in the math.
Yeah, because you got to be in the math. That's a lot of times what's happening. I mean, it's sad, but again, I think it's blame all around for that group. But that school, that's one of those schools that needs to be taken over. If that 0.1 whatever GPA is half of the school, and at that point, that's not a school anymore.
It's a holding.
So
I don't even know. I hope he gets better. Education's crazy. But I will say this. He did enter high school under Betsy DeVos, and I'm gone. Who's next on the MIC?
I'll kind of jump in there because it's actually a pretty good segue talking about his mom and how she's working and raising 4 kids or whatever and still having to try to kind of take care of the kids and watch them and all of that and like push them. So I had a question from one of my soldiers that I wrote his recommendation for officer candidate school. So he's trying to go through OCS, and you have to have recommendations. I wrote that for him, and he asked me on one occasion, he was just like, can you talk through how work-life balance works with you with being a reservist and having a full-time job and having a family because he just got married. They're thinking about having kids. So he's kind of thinking through everything that he has to do and how to manage that work-life balance. Byron, you talked about how you were working so hard and Miami was kind of really, really needed. So just talk me through kind of how you guys balance work, play, extracurriculars, community service, and everything, and how you are able to balance all of that.
I'm a planner, so I try to. It's kind of, I guess it's kind of corny, but I try to plan like things for us to do as a family. When I was doing Daddy-Daughter Day, I had like set aside days for the entire calendar year on when we would do Daddy-Daughter Day. And then, of course, I got work. Now, work can interrupt those plans sometimes, but I would always adjust. But if you enjoy your family, and I say that, because believe it or not everybody enjoys their family. Like I know people that will make several stops before they go home after work because they dread going home. But if you enjoy your family, you're going to make time for it. And it's just like the old adage, you make time for what you want to do. And so no matter how hectic or busy work gets, and it definitely can, like I mentioned with January, when you get that break, when you get the free time, you make time for your family, for the community service. I know Ferg talks about that a lot, and he enjoys doing it. And so I'm sure he probably makes specific time just for that. So that's basically it, man. Just finding the time to do the things that you enjoy. And if you enjoy community service, if you enjoy spending time with your family, that's what you're going to do when you have that free time. Otherwise, you're going to work. And then when you get that free time, you're just going to be lazy around the house, I guess. So that's what I do, man. I definitely try and plan trips, plan outings. I'm always looking for things to do in this DC area for us to do as a family. So we enjoy it, and that's why I try and make time and plan for it.
That's why I appreciate you, Buff. I need to do more of that, the planning. I'm a little bit on the other side. I prioritize and I set goals. And then I try to maneuver them in because with I think all that I have, especially in the last, call it year or so, I have so many different moving parts with family members counting on me that I have to be able to be very flexible, depending on what my family needs here, depending on what work demands, depending on just mentally where I'm at. I kind of play it by ear. And then sometimes, because I don't plan well enough, things that get left by the wayside. I'll forget to do this, or I'll just, put this on the back burner because I'll have a new goal or a new priority that comes up that might push off a daddy-daughter day or push off a community service or a meeting I need to do. But I do best at things that are already set on my calendar. Like I have an investment club meeting every Tuesday night at 7, and if we switch it, if I know in advance, it works better. But things that are on my calendar work well. But I think my main thing that helps me is my priorities. Like my family comes first. And by my family, I mean my wife, and then my kids, and then my external family or extended family, and then so on and so on. And then like work and community. So work allows me to do the things with my family and provide the life that I provide. And so I take that very seriously, and I try to do the best that I can with that. And then, just community and community service and my mentees and finance. So I try to plan all those things, not plan, but prioritize those things. And as long as I'm hitting my marks more than that I'm missing them, I feel pretty good. But another thing that just helps me is I have Z's dope as hell. Like she brings me back. She centers me. She checks on me. Like I've been telling you guys, the last few weeks has been crazy. She scheduled an appointment with my therapist just to make sure that I was okay. So those things help. Work-life balance, it comes and goes. Some depending on what's going on in the world. I keep telling myself, these last few months have been tough, but I think it's a temporary thing because there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that are time sensitive that need me. But generally, it's pretty good. And I think this pandemic just has thrown me off kilter as well. So, Buff, I need to see your calendar to see. Do you actually have a calendar where you write stuff down? And
I do. I get made fun of that too because they're like, you can put that on your phone. But I'm like, I like physically having a calendar book. I have a calendar book that our union gives us every year, and I fill that calendar book out with things that I want to do. It's my little thing.
Okay.
What can I say?
I might buy me a calendar.
Jen was like that. Jen had to have a physical book. She couldn't do it on her phone or whatever.
Yeah.
And she would do both so that we could see because we had a shared family calendar. Yeah. So she'd put it on there, but she had to put it in her physical book too.
Well, I'm gonna need the calendar to remind me to write something on the calendar. I start off with. So the thing about it, I like efficiency. So sometimes I feel like calendars and things can limit my ability to move. Like if it's not efficient or logical, it drives me crazy. So yeah. I need to be very nimble, and I think that's part of the sales in me, like being able to move this around. Like even people that meal prep, it makes so much sense. But it's like I could plan the perfect meal today. It's like, man, this is my favorite meal in the world. I'm gonna eat this all week. I might not want it by tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't do the meal prep.
And that's how I am with planning something like, yeah, we're supposed to go out of town this week, but man, if we went out this week, they're having this fair and da-da-da, and like all of a sudden it's like, but no, we put on the calendar to go out the second week in March. I just want to be like, you know what? We haven't done anything. Well, I'm going to try to do something the next week or two. Because I know family is important and I need to do something with the family, and then I'll give myself a time period to accomplish that goal. But, like you've been playing in Miami since God knows when. You've been playing in even Tab going to Vegas since God knows when. So you're a planner.
Yeah, and I've had to learn to be flexible too, because I used to get really anal if we didn't do what I had planned on that day. Like I would get mad if someone would change those plans. Like, damn it, we're supposed to do it. this weekend. So
yeah, because this Miami trip had to get changed a couple times, right?
Oh yeah. Like my birthday was in February. You see, I went in March.
yeah. This was your birthday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it happens, man.
Yeah.
But just let Allison know her birthday trip better not change because I already bought tickets and we bought hotels and everything.
You bought plane tickets?
So yeah, I bought plane tickets.
God dang.
I caught a deal on American. So I went ahead and bought the tickets too.
Thanks for sharing.
Well, it's from Birmingham, so it wasn't like a special, hey.
I will say airlines have been very good with allowing you to cancel and at least not charging you a fee, and you just keep the entire credit to use later. So
that's true.
You can kind of buy with ease now.
Cool. So for me, I think the biggest advice I can give anybody for work-life balance is the power of no. Being able to tell people no. I don't want that extra overtime. I don't want that extra board that you want me to join. I don't want to help you move that weekend. I got something else. Because I know people that'll be like, hey, get mad at you because you can't help them move because you had daddy-daughter day planned and you're not going to tell your daughter no. We're not going wherever so I can help this person move. Like the power of no is huge when it comes to, just work-life balance. And that no can be inside of work. So many times we feel like we got to tell the boss yes every time. We gotta take on that extra project. We got to take on that extra thing so we can advance. And truthfully, saying no on an occasion is not going to be a bad thing for your career progression. You can say, I can't do it this weekend. Can I do it next weekend? Or can I have it next week? I can't have it by this Friday. I can have it by next Friday. Like there is some negotiation there if you need to with some of the things you can do at work. So learn how to say no, learn how to tell folks that you can do things, and learn how to know how much time you have left. Like Ferg talked about the priorities, and if your family is a priority, Byron talked about, hey, I'm going to make sure that I put these times on the calendar and no, nothing's going to be, I'm not going to accept a new project because I have this on my calendar already because I have that priority of my family and I got to spend that time with them. But I do like time, like plotting everything because I block off a lot of time for the kids, especially now I have to, right? I don't have a choice. But even before when Jen was here, it was like I knew that, between certain times, that was my get them into bed, get them bathed and stuff. And I would tell folks, no, I can't do anything between like 8 and 9. That was our time for the kids, or between 7 and 8. I'm blocking things off. I can't make conference calls or whatever. Don't put me on a conference call at 7 o'clock. Not going to happen. Now, as a reservist, you kind of don't have that, ability, right? The battalion, brigade, they're going to set the conference calls. They're going to tell you when you got to be on and things like that. But what you have to do is you have to go back to that calendar and say, okay, I got these calls every Tuesday at 7. Talk with Jen at the time. Jen, you got the kids, you got to bathe them and everything. I'm not going to be able to bathe them on those days. But I knew that Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays were kind of my days. I was going to bathe them on those days so that we could have that work-life balance, help each other out, help the spouse out, and then have our time together as family. So it's all a balancing act. That's why they call it work-life balance. It's not one or the other. You gotta go all in if you want to progress and you want to do well in anything that you do, whether it's family, job, reserves, community service, you want to be on a board or whatever. You got to be able to make that time for it. But you just got to make sure you're not spreading yourself too thin and saying yes to too many things. That's really how you can make sure that work-life balance happens.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good point. What you about to say, Buff?
Now I'm going to say shout out to Shonda Rhimes. That's something that she's big on, learning how to say no.
Oh, yeah. The thing about it is, and 2 points. When we answer questions like that, I also have to think that the way I think or the way we think, or things that come easy to us, don't necessarily come easy to everybody else. Because I had a similar talk with my coworkers about my manager, and he can be tough. I think he's a good guy. He can be tough on certain things, and they're way more stressed on certain things, like working on the weekend. I'm not doing it unless it's every blue moon. I'm fine, but it's something that he gave and he wants done by Monday, but by close of business Monday, I'll work on it Monday. I might not get anything else done Monday, but my weekend's for my family. And I'm okay with saying no or going against the grain because once again, my family, I believe, I can get a new job. Never had a problem getting a new job. Can't get a new family. But I am struggling with those certain things when we're talking about work-life balance. Because when I feel maybe I need to do better at writing things down and planning things, and it helps me not necessarily to schedule things, but to track what I've done or to remind me what I've done. Because even when I talked to my therapist, we had this, I think maybe not this session, the last session, he was talking about false guilt. So a lot of times, because I feel like I'm doing other things and Z's telling me I'm doing great with the kids and the family and all this stuff, but in my mind, it's like, man, I need to be doing more. I need to be doing more. And so I'll guilt myself into taking time away from myself, because even like this, when I tell my therapist I have a podcast, which he might be listening to, he asked me for it the other day, and we'll see if he's listening. But it's time I feel like I'm taking away from the family. And anytime and my thought process, me time is any time away from the family. Mm-hmm. And he had to help me understand that that's not me time. That's still, you're doing stuff, but that's not you time, because you're still thinking, you're still entertaining, you're still, being you rather than, I play more video games probably in the last 2 months than I played in the last 10 years. And it helps me relax.
It's an awesome escape.
Yes,
that's what it is. It's an escape.
But even if you're struggling with work-life balance, talk to a therapist, because there might be more to it than you think. Yep. Like for me, it was more so I had a lot of stuff going on. That means I feel like I had a full life, but I was balancing it well, but I was missing a piece of it. And that was time for me. Yep. I've talked a lot about the things I have going on outside of my household that I'm trying to manage and that are taking away from me or taking energy away from me or draining me to a certain extent, and learning how to let those things go. But I'm done, man. That's a good question. Yeah. Buff, what do you have?
So I promised my question would be quick, and we'll see if that holds true. So we've done the Hall Pass episode. I don't know if you guys remember your Hall Pass choices or if they've changed. Mine has been tweaked a little bit. It's changed a little bit. But I wanted to ask you guys, growing up, who were your top 3 celebrity childhood crushes? Like, what was your middle school, high school Hall Passes back then?
Topanga. No, just
yeah.
Topanga definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I think damn near every black guy in our age group had it for Topanga.
Yeah.
Buff, you about to make me a liar on the show?
Okay, who was Topanga?
Exactly. I knew Buff.
Oh. Who was that?
I knew Buff was gonna make me a liar.
From what's
Boy Meets World?
Boy Meets World. Yeah.
Byron didn't watch that. That was on during Rap City.
That's what we doing. I was watching freestyle in the booth.
Yeah.
So with Free count though.
Yeah.
So because that was a crush.
Yeah.
Free was bad.
But how old were we though? We were like out of high school, weren't we?
When Free was on, no, that was high school, I think. When
AJ and Free was college, I think.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, because I remember meeting her when I worked at the airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it simple. In no particular order. Ashley Banks.
Good one.
Lisa Turtle. And Topanga.
I think what was the black chick that was on Clueless?
Talking about Stacey Dash?
Stacey Dash.
Wow. Okay.
Back in the day, she was bad though. She was
Stacey Dash back in the day. Yeah, flawless. Not today, but Stacey Dash back in the day was yes. So that was a big crush of mine. And then I think Ashley. I'll go Ashley. Yeah. So
that girl next door, brown skin, get her.
Yeah.
So y'all all picking like sitcom women. Okay.
I mean, help me. Maybe I'm thrown off. Like
I'm good. Y'all didn't pick mine. Definitely Janet. I had a thing for Janet Jackson.
Yeah, but I had a thing for Janet since elementary school. So
I mean,
yeah, I was trying to think like our age range, like not I'm crushing on a grown woman, like that's
I was crushing on a grown woman.
We definitely were. You know,
I mean, we were. I'm just saying, it's like
Janet. Yeah. So I fell in love. Let me tell you when I fell for Janet. Let's wait a while. I didn't know what I was waiting for, but I was willing to wait. I didn't know, bro. I can't make that shit up, bro. I'm with it. You know, like let's just wait a while. You know,
man.
I wanted to take her to prom because growing up in the '80s, the prom was a culmination of everything in life. All those '80s teen movies were all about the prom. So I just wanted to take Janet to the prom. So it's not too late, Janet.
Oh man, for some reason, man, and people gave me crap for this, but I was a Tyra Banks fan, man. It was like, but her forehead's so big. I was like, I don't care. I like Tyra Banks. I don't know why. So Janet, Tyra, and the fine one.
Tyra won't even think in the 90s though.
I mean, neither was Stacey Dash, but y'all crushing on her. She's always been skinny.
Yeah, but she was pretty.
She's been a little curvy.
Nah, Stacey ain't never really been curvy.
Yeah, that was that TV illusion.
Topanga was thicker than Stacey.
Yeah. So, but Ashley is a good one too. I remember someone lied and told me that was Muhammad Ali's daughter because they was like Tatiana Ali. That's his daughter. But yeah, so I'm gonna go.
Speaking of daughters, Layla Ali though.
Yeah, no, we're not about to put her on. We're not putting her on the top. We're not about to put her like on a crushing type thing. Like she's attractive. No,
because I didn't know her until I was like an adult. But yeah, she was bad.
So you said you had
Tyra, Janet, and I'll go with Tatiana. I was gonna say the fine one from In Vogue, but since I don't know her name or whatever, I just remember they giving him something he could feel video.
Hey. Chili. How you forget chili?
Change my chili. Yo, I used to get. I crushed on chili so hard. I got mad that they ain't let her sing enough. I was like, they don't let her sing enough.
I like T-Boz more.
T-Boz when the nip slip or the
oh yeah.
Yes on Creeping, I think a Red Light Special.
No, that was Creeping. It was Creeping when the pajama top flew up. I know this. I used to know the time.
Yeah, I think you told me about it. I think you told me. I had to go
to school. I think it was like me, Corey, Mike. I said, "Did you see? You saw it?"
And so I went home to watch the video that day. Like I went and watched whatever it was. I remember that. I think you guys were the ones that told me that.
Yeah, man, that joke flew up. I don't know how they didn't catch that, but it worked for me.
Yeah, man.
So I like T-Boz out of the group, man.
More than chili.
I don't know. It was that haircut, the little blonde with the little reverse bob or whatever it was. So yeah, it was.
All three were cute though. All three.
Like by the end, I think I was a Left Eye fan. Honestly, I forgot what it was. Like when I sat down and looked at it, I was like, I think she's the cutest. But I forgot what video or something like. But you know, I went through all three. So.
Chili, man, that was a good one. So yeah, Chili, Janet, Tyra. That's me.
I think Chili might have to replace Ash.
Yeah, I want. I was shooting my shot with adults.
You weren't trying to wait a while?
Nah. Shoot,
all right, man, that's hilarious. So okay, maybe I'm gonna let you finish, Razi. It's time. Let's go ahead and close it on out because I thought somebody was gonna have this question or talk about it.
No, I don't have anything really other than you guys know we hit the 1 year mark of Jenica's passing last week. I know Ferg, you asked about did I want to talk about it last episode, and I kind of did, and I was dreading and super anxious and everything, but I want to just shout out everybody who did check on me, and just was like, hey, how are you doing and everything? And it's weird I actually was doing okay. I kind of play around with my secret of, the whole Avengers, Dr. Banner saying, what's my secret? I'm always angry. And it's just like, I always miss her. It's like, I don't miss her any extra on those days. It's like, I miss her the same. And so it wasn't a huge thing, but it's the anxiety leading up to it is probably worse than the actual day. When I get in that day, it's just like, I miss her. Go through what I have done though is I broke my kind of morning routine where I go through my memories because I knew the memories were going to be there of like the funeral and everybody coming in and that stuff that was happening. I think announcing the funeral yesterday would have been 3 days after. So yeah, announcing the funeral would have been on my timeline. And so like those things I've stayed away from kind of Facebook and my Facebook memories and everything just to kind of not hit home too much. But ultimately, man, it was just another day. And I told you guys in a group chat, it was like, I don't have any more firsts. And so it was a little bit of consolation knowing that I don't have to go through the first Christmas without her, the first day of school without her, the first, her birthday, that she's not here. And we used to do her birthday like real big. Like we went to France around her birthday and anniversaries. And then we went to, Hawaii for her 30th. And so like her birthday was a big, big deal. And so no more kind of first birthdays without her and that type of thing. So it's at this point, I feel like I've made it through the first year and I can keep going. And so that's kind of helpful, that hitting that year mark, knowing that, all right, I made it a year. There's no reason that I can't continue on and navigate and figure this thing out, life without her. And Tamara, shout out to her. She kind of put in our group chat with her family, with Jen's family. She was like, she learned in grief counseling that it's not moving on, it's learning how to move forward. And that was a huge kind of paradigm shift or way to look at it. Was really kind of cool to say, I'm not moving on past her or whatever, but we do have to move forward. So just shout out to everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the text, chats, Facebook messages, everything, for reaching out, checking on me. And just, know that I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. That's just a hard act to follow. I think you also talked about the WandaVision episode. I think, was it episode 8? With their quote that Huck stuck.
The quote from there, it was it hit home for me a lot because it was like, what is grief but love persisting? And that again, it's looking at it from a different lens of thinking about, it wouldn't have been a whole year and I'm still grieving if I didn't love her so hard. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of puts a little bit of perspective on the grief and why you're still grieving. And it's because you're still loving the person and you're still loving the memories and everything like that. It's just hard to forget them. So yeah, it is. It's that love continuing to persist.
Yeah. And it will always be there,
Yep.
That March 6th date will always stick out for us. I remember we traveled down there on that day. And I just remember that following week, how everything just changed with, with COVID. Like, we had heard about COVID even when we were down there, but it seemed like that very next week is when things just really, really changed and shut down, man. And Tab and I were definitely thinking about you, and I told her about, your Dr. Banner quote and everything. I thought it was perfect. And I'm glad you're doing well. I'm sure it's still tough, man. You already know you got Ferg, me, and the rest of us. So we continue to pray for you, bro. That is a tough act to follow. I'll just end it with this because you mentioned WandaVision. I won't give away the season finale for those that haven't watched it. For me, overall, the episode was kind of meh, especially some of the fighting scenes. But speaking of quotes, I'll just say this. The quote that her and Vision share towards the end of the episode is like, it's damn near iconic to me. I actually posted it on my page. Like, their exchange, it's I think it's the first real love story that Marvel has ever produced. And that part was well written, man. So I appreciate that. And also, man, shout out to Jay-Z. That brother made almost $600 million in a week selling his shares of Ace of Spade and Tidal. He's now worth $1.2 billion, I think. And no matter what your opinion is about him, you think about where he came from to where he is. Yeah, where he is now. It's just amazing to watch, man. And I applaud it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I haven't seen WandaVision yet, but even that quote I was telling about earlier, like I was reading an article on that, and it was received with mixed reviews because people they're not used to it's almost like your shut up and dribble quote, like shut up and fight, like don't make me feel when I'm watching a Marvel movie or watching an action scene. So. But I loved it. When I heard it, I'm like, that's dope. And then I think you reposted or somebody else reposted it, and I was like, I think it was, that could be the quote of 2020. You know what I'm saying? That could be 2020 in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. But I haven't heard the new quote, so we'll see. And I thought we were going to bring this up, and I guess since we were talking, coming to America, we're gonna just.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were going to close with that, or somebody was going to ask a question about that, and I was like, do I even bring it up? Thoughts, fellas?
Simple. It was good. I don't get the people who were expecting it to be better. Like, I saw a couple of comments. It wasn't as good as the first one. Well, duh, I mean, I didn't expect it that, but it was good. It served its purpose, and that's all I got, man. I like how they found a way to bring back everyone, all of the favorite characters from the first one. They fit them in some type of way, and I enjoyed it, and it served its purpose for me.
Yeah, I think it was fan service. It wasn't trying to make a blockbuster movie. It wasn't trying to, get a Grammy or whatever it is they give Academy Awards and stuff like that. It really was just fan service. Like you said, bring back the people, bring back the folks we loved, get them a little bit of shine. And it was a good story. And when you talk about everybody who got to eat off that,
everybody.
Ruth Carter from the costumes, man, beautiful costuming. The acting was fun. It was campy and it was goofy and it had a lot of the old Coming to America feel to it. Like if you look back at Coming to America, it wasn't like the super great story. It was the comedy was there and it was funny. And so I laughed. I mean, I took it for what it was instead of what everybody kind of wanted it to be, and wanted to be the super over the top, $100 million production. And it was made during a pandemic at the same time. I think it was a good play from Eddie Murphy. And it sets up probably a number 3 and a number 4 that can be kind of better and bigger productions if they wanted it to be.
So I agree with everything you guys said. First of all, there's no way. If he made it as good or better than the first, he should retire, never make another movie again, and just retire as a GOAT. Because Coming to America is one of the funniest movies of all time. Top 5, top 10. Like if for some even number 1, like you can't just do that twice. It just doesn't happen with the same cast and same characters and trying to duplicate. It just doesn't happen. But you're right. It was a good movie. It was funny. And I saw someone make a quote. Any movie that makes me literally laugh out loud a couple of times is a good movie. And it was like, I laughed. I laughed. The cast was great. Eddie Murphy put his daughter in her first movie. That was cool. I mean, it was predictable. You saw the love story happen as soon as she got the clip. It was like, yeah, he finna fall in love with her. Like, already knew.
I mean, did you not see her?
Yes, yes. Oh, the cast, beautiful.
Yes, yes, all that magic.
Yeah, it was black magic all over. It was even funny just to see Louis Anderson back in there. First washing lettuce, now the fries. Now he's in Zamunda.
Yeah, running to the store.
And that it was hilarious. It was over the top, like how they kept repeating that McDowell's joke. You know, the McFlurby and all the other stuff. Like,
yeah. Like, and the Pepsi product placement was just hilarious.
Just hilarious. I'm like, it's so over the top that it's funny. It was a lot. Some of it was cheesy funny. Like, it's like, but it was purposely cheesy. They talked about they were having a scene talking about American movies and how they do remakes, remakes of old movies that nobody asked them to remake, that were perfectly fine from the beginning. And it's like, message. But it was funny. I think Wesley Snipes did a good job. He was hilarious to me. Point. My one big take from Coming to America that I don't like, anybody that knows me about that movie, I did not like Cherie Headley. Lisa from Coming to America, she was my least favorite character in Coming to America, believe it or not. I liked her this time. To me, she's prettier. Yeah. Even her drunk scene had me rolling. Uppity bitch say what?
They gave her some funny lines this time because she didn't have any in the first one. Yeah, because
I didn't like her. I like the sister better. That's the only person they should have. I missed the sister.
Yeah,
Shireen or Sherelle or whatever her name was. That's who they should have brought back. But it was cool. Even the rapping scene, the
funeral was on point.
The funeral was dope.
Yeah, that was on point.
I mean, it was a good movie, man. So go watch it, go support it. Eddie produced it did he produce it and direct it, or?
I don't think he directed. I think he just produced.
But it's from Eddie Murphy or his production company. So go watch it. It was a good movie. The family can watch it together. It's a lot of. I love the daughters. I really don't have a lot of negative stuff to say about the movie. Ohan was back. Babar was back. Everybody was back. So, with that being said, it is March. We're moving forward with 2020. You guys getting your shots this week anytime soon? Leave it with that.
Trying. Alabama, they've sucked this roll up out. So if you're not 55 or above or like diagnosed with like some really bad, like diabetes isn't enough. It's like you got to have heart conditions. It's a really high bar.
Are they checking? Because I don't know what I had, but I got it. Z and I got it. I don't know if I was a healthcare worker for this one or I had diabetes or I think I said sickle cell or so. I whatever it was, I was getting on that list because Governor Abbott is telling Texas to go out there and raw dog this air again.
Yeah.
So can't play around.
From the people who brought you no power and no water.
It's raw dog this air.
Yeah.
2021. So yeah. So I got mine. We got another one coming up in a month. Z had arm pain. I had a headache from hell yesterday. So besides that, everything's fine. Three Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.